Hello, everyone. This is Chala Dincoy, CEO and founder of The Repositioning Expert, welcoming you to a very exciting interview session with my guest, Emily Lindner. Hi, Emily, from the mountaintop. We're doing this live interview series about the big topic of what corporate buyers want in 2022. And it is in great efforts to talk about and to shed light on the ETMA, Enterprise Technology Management Association, December 2nd, starting at 3 p.m. Eastern, our big conference. So welcome again, Emily, and tell us who you help and what you do.
Hi, guys. I'm Emily. I'm founder and president of True North Consulting, and we provide telecommunications and technology expense management to large enterprises, really nationwide, above $20 million in spend. We live in inventory and reporting. So we want all of our clients to know exactly what they have, where it is, and whether or not they're using it to help reduce and control expenses and manage those contracts. It's a lot of words. It's not a great dinner party conversation, but it's critically important now more than ever.
Yeah, and I imagine that it's difficult to differentiate because I've met a few people doing this. Is that sort of the sense that you get, is that there is a lot of competition in this area?
There is, and thankfully it's a friendly competition. Hi, ETMA folks. And really where we specialize is customizing our solution tailored to our clients' needs. And that's served us really well through all this digital transformation energy, as well as the confluence of the traditional IT buyer and the finance department really coming in and those teams merging. Being at the table and having relationships with both sides of that fence is really important. We're at the table to hear about their challenges. We're on their earnings calls to hear about, big picture, but we hear about these challenges and we can really solve those problems versus just come in with a packaged off the shelf software product that implements just like anyone else. We are nimble and really pride ourselves in that customization right there.
That's wonderful. So this is your baby, because I'm wondering how long you have dealt with corporate buyers and in what capacity?
Yeah, so good question. I started my career with AT&T. So granted, that was 100 years ago. I've got some gray hair here, but it gave us real insight into a smattering of corporate buyers from mid-market all the way up to enterprise gold. So that's my experience, really starting when I was just a baby child in Chicago with AT&T. And I still am our primary business development. I wear that hat over here as well. Although we're team sellers, like our clients, our potential clients know the delivery people before they sign that contract. So we bring those people into the process to really demonstrate how we do this. Because as a lot of the people I'm sure listening agree, a lot of our corporate buyers, they're like, it sounds too good to be true. How can you do things that we've tried to do for a century, right? We've got people in desks that try to do this and they just can't do it. So, the buying process really involves a lot of pre-delivery. So I just said to a prospect the other day, I said, part of our biz dev strategy over here is let's deliver until you're so addicted to it that that we enter into a really customized, the right relationship.
I love that. So what do you think? I mean, having worked with them now, how long have you had this company?
True North, founded 15 years ago.
Perfect. Now 15 years and working side by side with these buyers. What do you think they want? And has anything changed in what they want because of COVID or after the pandemic?
So much has changed. So much has changed, and it's all faster, right? So there's more at the table, and it's faster. So we've got to be quantum over here and operate really efficiently and fast. But I think what we're seeing is a lot of automations, right? So what can we automate for our clients? Sometimes what people can we help repurpose to other factors of their business because we're automating and doing this better, faster, cheaper than humans could have. And then consistent automations. A lot of our prospects are asking us, what are you planning for the next 2 years? What is your technology roadmap, True North? To stay ahead of our future problems. So I think automations, integrations to their current stack. How do they use less tools and really have less clicks to get the information that they need? And then like I said, the IT and finance conversion, they both want that one-click report. We need to speak their language, know their acronyms, and give them the data that they need in the terms and ways that it makes sense to them. Because IT's got a bunch of acronyms and finance has got even more. So, bringing those two together and making sure that we're delivering to both of them, that's not even a want, that's a need. Like everybody is expecting that. So we're seeing a lot of that going forward, a lot of questions, around procurement. And when I talked about automations, like how can we automate procurement of technology services, and how do we pay for them, right? So I'm sure, read the same news I did on the U.S. Postal Service extending their commitment on, or I should say, adding days to their first class postage commitment. Like you can't pay bills anymore with a check, right? So how are we automating that? And I think you probably read the same G2 buying report that I did, but like 48% of enterprise customers want to pay for your services on the credit card, right? This is good, right? It's automation, but we need to accept that as a company as well, and make sure our contracts are delivered as such. That one was kind of a surprise, but it's an easier one. But it really is the rapid rate of expectations changing, and how we transact business.
That's amazing. So that's really kind of operational, but I love, that so much has changed even in the marketing and the sales, which is all the outreach. Everything I call marketing is until they ask, how much is it? And then everything that happens after that question is sales. But everything that you're talking about, which is what I'm going to be talking about on December the 2nd, is they've become more B2C like, meaning they expect to do their own stuff a lot more throughout the buying journey. They expect you to have that automation in place and quicker. And on the other side, which is really interesting, I don't know if you found this, but all sorts of research data shows that since the pandemic, the buying groups are larger and the decisions are slower because they're doing more research. Have you found that?
I've actually seen a little bit of the opposite in faster decision making, but there are more people at the table, which brings up to the quantum thing again. How do we get more people to understand, to attend those demos, to really sign up for this? How do we get them coalesced? And what we're finding is unless there is a strategic sourcing lead, and sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't, we become that lead. So we're connecting IT and finance and maybe HR and compliance. We're connecting those people and bringing them in on the communications and on the meetings. So it's really an external person driving the coordination of our potential clients' departments, which takes quite a finesse not to be bossy or bulldozing. But we've seen really faster. And the peer review is huge, right? You mentioned the B2C buying methods. When you go to buy a new comforter, I'm sure you ask your friends in social media and get some of the answers there. That's coming into B2B decision making a lot. And yes, there's also the Gartner Magic Quadrant and all those other reports, but peer reviews are making a bigger impact, I think, than they ever have. And it's not like an online peer review. It really is talking to their peers at different company. A lot of our clients are broadcasters, which they all know each other. And it's fantastic because it's, whenever they're talking about reducing expenses or their digital transformation, they're talking to their peers. And thankfully, sometimes our name gets brought up. But offering up those references is big to someone who is in their peer group, a CIO to a CIO or a CFO to a CFO. It's surprising with all the ways to get information out there that some people really just want to pick up the phone and call their trusted buddy.
Yeah, and I love that you're saying that, because how are we leveraging that in our marketing and our sales outreach? How are we using that in our messaging? How are we using all these new trends that are getting faster and faster and faster and turning around on a dime to be able to reach out to better leads and to bigger leads and to be able to retain more of those leads and turn them into sales conversations? And how are we able to cut the 18-month cycles so that we can get right down and start the work? I mean, everything that you've said talks about their pain points. And that's the other thing that I'm going to talk about is people only buy. 70% of humans purchase because of pain. So how in your outreach and in your dealings with the buyer are you positioning as an expert in that pain. So every word that you've said talks about the pain of collating the two different, fractions of the two different, of the company, and being that middle person and having it like a one-click solution. But, what I do, the specialty that I do is I word that in a way that it like hits them in the face as their pain, rather than, oh, this is what I do. No. It's about what happens when you don't do that.
Yeah.
That's the starting point, right? And I bet you about some really ugly stories, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting, it's here on our wall, but like we've got to solve the problem, not just treat the symptom, which is really hard at this rapid rate of change, because you don't know what the next symptom or problem is going to be. But when we look at something, one of our founding tenets is like, let's build it to last. It's hard when things are changing, but really focus on solving the problem, not just treating the symptom. And because our buyers are in pain, they want just their symptoms to go away. They just want a quick ibuprofen. We all know that doesn't work. So sometimes we'll marry those two. Here's the quick ibuprofen. Here's the day one, pain solver, but here's the big picture. And a lot of our biz dev strategy comes from people coming to us for X. And really, we'll do X, sure, but we really only do X in the context of the whole A, B, C through Z life cycle. So we'll bring them in and we will solve that pain right away, but we're slowly leading them into why the life cycle management is so important. Huge. Do not treat the symptom. Let's solve the problem.
And so to that point, first of all, you have to understand what it is, and you have to understand it on a larger scale. And because one of the things that I'm going to teach about is that they're looking for experts and thought leaders.
Yeah.
And they're looking for solution partners. They're not just looking for a one-off. They're not looking for a product. And less are they buying on just the product or the price. So it's so important how you position yourself. The name of my company is the Repositioning Expert. There has never been a more important time for positioning yourself as a thought leader and expert. So thank you for confirming everything I'm going to be on the second. And by the way, folks, I did not pay her. I did not give her anything. She's not a plant. So what, parting advice do you have for our viewers with respect to dealing with buyers in 2022?
Wow. Well, you ended on it just now. And it's really my last bullet is it's people and tools, right? We all know about the great resignation right now. People moving around jobs all the time. But really layered over the tools have got to be trusted people that, there's so much data, there's so much information, there's so many dollars, so many cents, but it really is like, hey, here's the good information, here's the good data, here's what it means, this is what we recommend you do with it. Oh yes, we'll go do it. And we'll measure that ROI over and over. And you're going to show up and you're going to see our faces on a monthly or QBR call. I think that heightens the trust level around the tools that get it done. Because robots are awesome, but people make sense of it. And that's where the relationships and trust lies.
That's great advice. How can our viewers reach you and your company information?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. True North Consulting. So we are www.truenorthconsulting.com. I am Emily Lindner. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm there every day.
Wonderful. Thanks for being a guest.
My pleasure. Thanks so much.